What's going on, everyone? Ever since Kevin Durant requested a trade, the big question has been who will claim Kevin Durant? Which team is going to make the move to trade Kevin Durant? Where will Kevin Durant land? And there have been tons of rumors, reports, speculations, theories, all running wild, right? Where will Kevin Durant be? Will he be in his preferred destination, the Phoenix Suns? Phoenix is supposedly putting together a package to try to acquire Kevin Durant. It's very likely going to be a multi-team deal. We've heard the Toronto Raptors that they would maybe be willing to trade a Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby to go get a Kevin Durant. There's even been reports about potentially Scottie Barnes being in the trade if need be. We've heard the Golden State Warriors and that all of the veterans, their stars, have reached out to Kevin Durant about potentially reuniting and maybe trying to compete to win several more championships. Miami Heat, they were another preferred destination for Kevin Durant, but I think that would be a little more difficult. But one team that's kind of just floated around and just been randomly thrown in here and there that hasn't really been taken too serious is the New Orleans Pelicans. And now you may be thinking the New Orleans Pelicans, but think about it. And there was a real trade proposal that is put out there that we will cover in a second. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. But the Pelicans do make a lot of sense. They have a ton of assets. They have a really solid team and a really good competitive team and could meet the asking price for Kevin Durant and still be a contender. New Orleans is a great place to live. It's a place that has community. Kevin Durant would be loved. He'd be able to just go there and play basketball. They have a great organization. They have, a great GM, all of those things. But here's the proposed package that was suggested for Kevin Durant. So the New Orleans Pelicans would receive, of course, Kevin Durant, and then they would give up Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, Devontae Graham, a 2024 first-round pick from the New Orleans Pelicans, 2024 first-round pick from the Los Angeles Lakers, 2026 first-round pick from the Milwaukee Bucks, 2025 first-round pick swap from the Pelicans, 2026 first-round pick swap from the Pelicans, and 2029 first-round pick swap from the Pelicans. So essentially, the deal would be a young all-star type player, which the Brooklyn Nets desire. It's who they want. It's what they want, right? You get Brandon Ingram, a young, athletic, a guy that is in many ways very Kevin Durant-esque and has been compared to Kevin Durant since he came into the league, right? He's he's an all-star. He had a great year last year. You get him. You get Herb Jones, another young guy with lots of potential. Devontae Graham, he can be a real fire starter, another scorer and shooter from off the bench. He could be really solid and great for him. He had some real stretches with the Pelicans that really honed in. And then they get essentially 6 draft picks. That's pretty good. Yes, some of them are pick swaps, but still, nonetheless, you're getting a lot for a Kevin Durant player. This is a historic level type of trade. You get 6 draft picks, you get an all-star player, you get, 2 young guys that could be part of your future plans. If not, you could probably package them and maybe get more assets, maybe more draft picks. Devontae Graham may be able to get you a high first-round pick, something along those lines. I don't think it'd get you in the lottery type pick, but, somebody, a mid-tier team or a contender may take Devontae Graham as like their 6th man off the bench, something along those lines. And just think of the big 3 that the Pelicans would have. You'd have CJ McCollum. You'd have upgraded Brandon Ingram for Kevin Durant, right? And they were already really good, really solid. And there's a lot of hype and excitement around the Pelicans next season because you have CJ McCollum for a full season. Hopefully you have Zion for a full season. And the thought was you'd have Brandon Ingram for a full season. Now imagine if you're upgrading Brandon Ingram for Kevin Durant and you'd still have Zion Williamson. So you have the scoring. You have that big, just dominant down low presence. This team would be really solid, and they'd still have their depth. They'd still have pretty much all of the pieces for their team. You're giving up, 2 role guys, and you're giving up Brandon Ingram, but you're upgrading to Kevin Durant. This would be a phenomenal trade for the New Orleans Pelicans, and they meet the asking price and then some of the Brooklyn Nets. Technically, the Pelicans could keep going. They have other assets. They have second-round picks. They have 2 second-round picks from Chicago. They have their own second-round picks. So, you could even throw in a couple second-round picks if need be and just say, here, take it. You're getting Kevin Durant for 4 years. This team would be a legit contender. This team would be a team that people wouldn't want to face. Now, there are a lot of questions with Zion Williamson. And I don't think that they're a contender with just CJ McCollum and Kevin Durant. But who knows? I mean, look, Portland made it to the Western Conference Finals with CJ and Damian Lillard. And I think Kevin Durant is a big upgrade over Damian Lillard. So you have that in your pocket. And then if Zion can be Zion and stay healthy and get in shape and get everything right and actually put together a full season, you'd have a very dominant trio, one of the best trios in the entire NBA. So the biggest problem would just be health. Like, can they stay healthy? If they could stay healthy, I don't think anyone would want to see the Pelicans, right? Nobody would want to face the Pelicans in a 7-game series. You'd have to try to defend Kevin Durant, CJ McCollum. You'd have to try to defend the dominant force down low that is Zion Williamson. I mean, seriously, this team would be insane. And you'd still have so many other guys. And then from Brooklyn's side, you get a young guy in Brandon Ingram. You get that young, up and coming, still room to develop, still room to grow, hasn't even hit his prime yet. A guy that can get you, 22 to 25 a game, a Kevin Durant-esque. I mean, Brandon Ingram in many ways is the closest you can get to Kevin Durant. As far as stature, size, skill set, things like that, you'd still have him to pair with Ben Simmons. So you'd have a young, kind of core in Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram. Then whatever else you get, maybe you package some of those picks and work out a 3-team deal, right? Get a third team on board to kind of make it fit, make it work, and maybe recoup some other players. Maybe you're sending some of those draft picks, or maybe you keep the draft picks but send some of the pick swaps elsewhere to go get somebody, or you just have this treasure trove of picks. You're going to get some more of the Lakers picks because you're going to trade Kyrie Irving, so you're probably getting at least a pick from them. So you'd have this treasure trove of picks that you could package together and go and get another like mid-tier guy or another star or something along those lines. You'd have cap space. You'd have everything. You'd have essentially everything you need to put together a legit team. And I think Ben Simmons, with all of their shooting that they have around them, their size, their players, their depth, you add a Brandon Ingram to that and Devontae Graham and Herb Jones, I really think that the Brooklyn Nets could be a team that could be competitive in the Eastern Conference, and the sky's the limit. Especially if Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram can kind of mesh. You just think of that duo. You have two guys that are like 6'10", can handle the ball, rebound and take it from the break, can both defend at a high level. You'd have both of these guys to do so much. You can interchange them, all of that. Brandon Ingram has a much improved outside shot, so you don't have to worry about the paint being clogged. Brandon Ingram is a guy that can get, make that move, get to his spot, hit the mid-range, hit the three-point shot, do a little bit of everything. And so you don't have to worry about Ben Simmons, clogging the paint or something like that, like a lot of the other trades. Now, I do think that there are some, as far as like players go, if like the 3-team deal that is being rumored that is supposedly being worked out with the Phoenix Suns, the Indiana Pacers, and the Brooklyn Nets, where, you basically get Miles Turner and you get Mikal Bridges and maybe like a Cam Johnson to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, maybe you could argue that's better, but none of those guys are a, all-star level player. None of those guys have made an all-star. Now, Mikal Bridges, he goes from being the 4th option on a team to being the, likely 1st or 2nd option. So maybe he emerges into an all-star. He's a young asset. He's, in many ways, that wing player that can do a little bit of everything, play defense, knock down some shots, stuff like that. So maybe he becomes your all-star level player. You get a guy on Miles Turner, and then if you can snag like a Cam Johnson or something like that, then maybe that deal is better than this Pelicans deal. But out of all the deals we've seen, this is a pretty solid pickup for both sides. You're getting a ton of draft picks and assets. You're getting, an all-star level player, getting a guy that could be a legitimate 6th man of the year, and a guy that could even start if you need be. You get a guy in Herb Jones who has a lot of potential, a lot of growth, a lot of development. You get these young assets that could really be beneficial for now and the future, because that's what Brooklyn needs. They need a deal that can get them young players that have the possibility of being something one day and recoup assets enough to, if you need to, go and trade to get that 3rd guy or whatever. And then you need those assets to, even if it's just getting other key role players or just, guys that you're like, okay, we are a piece or two away. So let's package some of these picks go get this guy, let's go get this guy. And now you're putting them around your sort of solid core. And for the most part, most of the league is just duos, right? We don't have a ton of like these big three teams. Now, obviously, if Kyrie goes to the Lakers and that happens, then yeah, you'd have a big three. And then if the Pelicans get Kevin Durant, then they would have a big three. But outside of that, there's not a ton of teams with these big threes, like to the level that like the Lakers or the Pelicans would have if these deals went through. So having Ben Simmons, if Ben Simmons could get back to being that, Philadelphia Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram, you have a pretty solid duo. Like I said, you have size, you have length, you have athleticism, you have everything you need. So I do think it would be really solid for both of them. But, what do you think? What do you think about Kevin Durant potentially being in New Orleans Pelicans? I always pass the question on to you. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Do you like this deal? Do you think yeah, that's great. You get a young all-star, you get a ton of picks, you get a couple, quality role guys that can really be beneficial for you. They're still young enough to grow and improve and help build your team and your foundation. You got draft picks that you can use to go trade, do whatever you need. And then from the Pelican standpoint, you get a guy in Kevin Durant. You're basically upgrading Brandon Ingram for Kevin Durant. It doesn't get any better than that, right? And you'd still have, Zion, and you'd still have CJ McCollum. And the Pelicans seem like a team that would be willing to go all in if the deal is right, if everything is right. And I do think that this is about as close to right as it can get. I just think if you have the opportunity, if you're the Pelicans and this deal is something that is really could potentially be on the table, like I said, it's just a proposed deal, but it's something that's out there in the ether. It's something that has been reported. I didn't come up with this. It's something that is out there. So it's very likely that this is at least something that has been thrown out by the Pelicans, offer submitted, because there's a lot of teams that have submitted offers. They said that 15 teams called as soon as Kevin Durant was available. So all of those teams probably made their pitch. And the Pelicans probably said, we'll give you Brandon Ingram and 6 picks, 5 picks, whatever you want, that kind of thing. It meets the Brooklyn Nets asking price. It also meets the new updated asking price the Brooklyn Nets are asking for. So I just think however you slice it, it's a good deal. And I think if the Pelicans can do it, you go get Kevin Durant. If this is really a deal, I think it does make a lot of sense for the Brooklyn Nets. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. One last little shameless plug is I did start As It Stands Lakers. It is a channel just like this, dedicated to only the Lakers, because the Lakers are my favorite team. And on this channel, As It Stands, I talk about all teams, all sports, stuff like that. We have football season coming up, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And I just wanted to make a dedicated channel to the Lakers to give the ins and outs. Now, all the big stuff, all the big news and stuff, I will still post here on this channel. But if you want all the ins and outs and just rumors and theories and just discussions just strictly on the Lakers, link down in the description or in the comment section. Go check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.